Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Travis again, giving you officially part one since we got all our tools and everything. If you guys know where I'm at, I'm actually inside the folder that we created. If you remember, we had their CSS folder, HTML, images, all that fun stuff. We're going to go in our HTML file and we're going to open up our document here and get started. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load because I'm running the screen capture here. Okay, if you remember from last time, all we did was just create a basic document here. Just have our HTML head, body, and that sort of thing. Everything in the head pretty much executes before the body loads. Basically how a website works. And everything you want the website to look like goes inside the body tag. Okay, so first thing I want to do, First thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and start linking our reset text. So let's go ahead and do that. So go into your head, anywhere in your head. Usually you want to do it like right around where your title is, but it doesn't matter. Get up for a second. Okay, the command you want to do is called link rel equals style sheet, because you're trying to tell the browser you're using a style sheet, and you want to whatever the wherever it's at in relation to your folders. So link rel equals style sheet, href equals, and this is where we do our, I'm going to do dot dot because it's two folders back, and then whatever you named it. In my case, I named it CSS, or whatever you named your folder, and then whatever the name of the document is. In my case, I named it reset.css. You can do this too. Type equals text slash CSS. And that should be it. And you want to close it. And also, you don't have to do this, but I want to get ahead of the ball game, and I want to link a style sheet. Oops, messed up. Put the equal sign there. Style sheet, and I'm going to reference a new CSS document that I haven't created yet, but I will here in a second. And I want to call it style sheet, or styles. That way I don't have to do it later on. Then we can go ahead and save it. Also, it's very advisable that I don't think I will have to do it later on in this tutorial. But also, I'll show you when it comes pertinent. Also to link other things. You can link Google fonts in your head if you want a specific type of font that's not listed under default fonts. If you want jQuery to load on your website, you could link the jQuery from the Google developers page. If there's a certain kind of script you want to run that you downloaded or whatever, you put some sort of script file, same thing, you'd want to put it in here. So that's also something that you want to do as well. But I'll do that when that becomes pertinent. But right now, this is all we want. As far as that, that's really the only thing in the head tag. We will do some stuff later on, be much later on. But I want to go ahead and get started with the body. And the first thing I want to do is I want to open up a header tag. Oops. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And inside the header tag, I want to create some divs that has the username, password. Even though it's not really pertinent for this website, I just want to show you how that works. So it's got a search bar and I think one other thing I can't remember. Basically, what I want to do is I want to put this in here. This is all stuff I want to put in here. I'll worry about this logo here in a second, but I want to put all this stuff in here right now. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, I want to create some divs within inside this header, and I'm going to call it div ID equals, I'll just call it div1. And let's see. And inside there, so that's what I like about Komodo. He does all my syntax for me, which is kind of nice. Inside here, you want to do whatever you want what do you want to say? So I'm going to put gadgets. I'm going to use this pipe symbol. I don't know if I can spell. Gizmos. I don't know. Gadgets, gizmos. I can't remember what I wrote. What did I write? Articles. Okay. Just like that. Then you want to do, you can do the, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do a break tag. You can actually style this in CSS, but sometimes it's just easier to just put a break tag in there. It makes another space, what the BR tag does. That's all it does. And then we're going to do input type. I actually could just type in button type. This is kind of an old way of doing it. Since I'm using divs, I like to use input type. You really don't have to. I don't want text. Input type equals search. ID equals, I don't know, search box, S box. And let's see, name, S field, search field. So we got like, because I want to do a search box. Oops. And let's see. And I want to do a button as well as a value, and then so we'll go from there. Input type equals button. ID equals S button. In case if I want to style the button. I may not, I don't know. Sometimes I put IDs on here just for in the future if I want to do something. Value equals, okay, this value, what value does, it tells you exactly what you want the button to say. So I want the button to say search. So I'm going to type in search. And let's see. And placeholder. Now placeholder is optional. But basically it's by default what you want your what do you want it to say prior to someone clicking on it, I guess is the best way I could describe it. And I'll put search terms. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to go ahead and load this up for you guys, just so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so this is basically all we have so far. Not very much. It's kind of boring. And I know it's on the left-hand side. We went over here. And we're going to be doing that in CSS. We're going to obviously place it on this side here, as well as put our logo and all that other stuff. But basically, that's how you make a search bar. Now, it doesn't do anything because I didn't program to do anything. And that's beyond the scope of this tutorial anyway. I may do that later if I get requests for it, I guess. But at any rate, though, that's how you do something simple like that, just to make a search type of button. So let's go back to our HTML document here, and we're done with this div. I'm going to go ahead and create another div. I'm going to go ahead, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to name this one div2. And instead of doing a search bar, it's going to have a password. And of course, my input types are going to change to like a text, because I want them to be able to type in, you know, I want them to be able to type in something. So text. Well, we'll give a clever password here. PWD maybe. The ID is something you're going to reference it later when you want to get some style attributes from CSS. The name, I forgot to do this part when I was explaining, but the name is something, I don't know, like if you want to use some server-side code like PHP, you want to reference it by name, that's what usually you use that for. Anyways, input type, we want to make this a button again. and call this L button for login button. Let's see, and we'll do value, we'll call it login. And we don't need any placeholder text, it doesn't make sense for this part. We're going to save, and I think we'll do one more, and that's the other thing there. Oops. Our third button, we'll call it username. And don't forget to change the div to div3, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just kind of being very simplistic right now. Username, we're going to input type, still going to be text. We'll name the ID user, I guess. And name, same thing, user. Because if I want to do some server-side code, I want to make it, you know, kind of like the same thing, I guess. And that should be it. There's obviously no button for something like that, but you do want to put a placeholder. So let me get rid of this. I don't need this. Placeholder equals, oops. We'll make it equal, I don't know, username, I guess. And what that does, that puts a default text in there. So let me go ahead and save it. I'm going to go ahead and reload it. Okay, so here's what we got so far. Notice how it says username in there. I don't know why a placeholder didn't work here. That's weird. I might have to fix that. But I guess a default text in there. So we have our username, password, and our search bar. Now I know it's kind of out of order and everything, and I will be fixing that, guys, whenever I do CSS. But right now we're just doing the HTML part of it. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to do inside the header there. And of course I'm going to go ahead and make my logo, make the navigation bars. Just kind of go ahead and show you what we're going to be doing next. Go to our finished product here. Oops. We just did this part. I also want to put this logo in here, as well as these this navigation list here. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some space so you can see what I'm doing. Alright. And we're going to put a header tag in here. Now I'm going to hide this header tag later on whenever I put my logo in here. But just to show you guys where it is and everything, I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. But just note that I'm going to hide this later on. I'm going to call it eWeb Review, guys. I'm going to give this a nav class. A class, I should probably properly explain this. An ID in a class. Okay, an ID is something you plan to use one time. A class is something you plan to use multiple times. The best way I can describe it. Do they both do the same thing? Well, I guess you could make it do the same thing whenever you style things or reference it with JavaScript. But it's just you want to use classes when you use multiple things. It doesn't work that way with an ID, and vice versa. Okay, so anyways, now that I got that out of the way, we'll call this horizontal. Oh, I think that's how you spell horizontal. And inside there, we're going to put some of our links there. So we're going to start it with a list item. And, oh, actually, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. What am I doing? I forgot to make this an unordered list. This would not have worked. You always want to put UL first. I got ahead of myself, guys. Alright, now, list item. Inside my list item, I want to put a href tag equals just a number symbol. Normally you would make this equal to whatever you're trying your link to go to, so it would be a different part of your web page. But since I don't have nothing defined, I don't have another web page. So for example, if you were to name this home, it would be like home.html. It wouldn't be a number symbol. Number symbol is simply a placeholder. Inside there is what you want the link to say. So for example, if you go to my finished product, I have flat screens. And the next one's phones and iPads. So that's what I wanted to say. So I'm going to type in flat screens. And to save time, oops, Didn't get the whole thing. I'm going to copy this about a few times. I don't know about, let's see, look at my notes here, about 7 times. Okay, so we're gonna name it flat screens. Smartphones or whatever I want to name it. Phones, iPads, what else did we name it? Tablets, gaming consoles, whatever you guys want to name it. Let's see, what else did I name things here? Obviously computers. And free stuff. Now obviously people love things that are free, right? So what I'm going to do, and I didn't do this in my final product for some odd reason, I should have. But normally, if something that's like free or whatever, you probably want to make this background a different color. Maybe this text a different color. Maybe you want the font to be something different. So what I'm going to do, so I can specifically style this specific list item. I know I could put li, and I could put nth child if I want to, but that's kind of complicated. So I'm just going to give it an ID. Equal to, oh, let's name it free stuff. Actually, I should probably go free stuff. And I probably should have done it in my final product. That's kind of a mistake from my part, but so that way, I'm gonna go ahead and save this. So that way, I could style this, make it a different color, make it stand out more. I'm gonna go ahead and load this up now, and you guys will see the difference here. I'm gonna go ahead and X out of this. So now we have our search bar, password, username, all that. This would be our logo. I mean, it's not right now because I didn't load an image, but as right now it's a placeholder for a logo. And this, of course, would be our navigation list. And of course, I know it looks really crappy right now. I got that, guys, because I didn't do any CSS yet. I'm just doing the HTML part. The CSS makes it to where you want it to go. But anyways, this is basically what you're going to do. And if you notice how the fonts are this way and everything looks a certain way on here, as well as the H1 text isn't so huge, well, that's because of that reset.css. Now, just to show you exactly the power of, the power of reset.css, let me go ahead and just delete it real quick. Or just let me cut it out. And I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to go ahead and reload it up for you all. And you're going to see exactly, see how it looks now? So that's why I have my CSS, because if you notice in the CSS file I had padding at 0, margin at 0. Well, here they give a little bit of margin here as well as padding to open this up. As well as these bullets. I defined all my bullets to be a certain, to not show up, and they're showing up here. As well as my H1 tags, I want it to be a certain size that was defined in the reset.css CSS file, and so that's why it's like this. Plus, it has some margin here, which I don't want. So that's why I have that reset.css. It's because I don't want all this stuff. It's actually going to throw everything off when I'm finished. So I just want to show that to you, as well as the different fonts. So we'll go ahead and save that. I already did. Okay, good. Let's see, nav. What do I want to do after nav? I want to create a section. I want to give it an ID of, I don't know, left, for like left section. Very simple. In the old way of doing HTML, you would name this, you would give this a div. Well, first you have to put everything inside a container. Then you put these divs inside there, and you'd end that div up here. Hopefully I'm not confusing anyone. And you'd start a brand new div. You'd call it div ID equals left sidebar or something, or left. You'd have to have this ending div here. You have to put another div inside here to do whatever you want it to do. So if HTML5 kind of makes things a little bit easier, you don't have to screw around with a bunch of divs a lot, although I could show you how to do that. But instead they offer this new tag called section. Section, it does exactly what you think it does. It section things off. If you look at our website, actually our real website here, this is a section, this is a section, and this is a section. Left, center, and right, which I'm going to make here in a second. So it sections thing off. Under the old way of doing it, you would make different divs here that would div this off, as well as this part. Some people prefer the old way, some people prefer the new way. But I figured since we're all moving to HTML5, we might as well learn the new way. So that's what I'm going to be showing in this tutorial. However, if you guys want me to do it the old way, using the div structures, I'm more than happy and I'll put that out. Well anyways, let's go ahead and move on here. So we're going to make a left section, and the next thing I want to do is I'll make that vertical nav that you see on the left hand side of the website. So I want to make this right here. So let's go ahead and do that. And of course I start off with some links. So I'm going to make another nav class. Why do I need another nav class? Well, because I'm going to reuse it. And guess what I'm going to call it this one? I'm going to call this one vertical. Because it's, oops, I put quotations here. Because it's a vertical nav. And inside here, I'm going to put the H1 tag in here. I'm going to call it reviews, as if I was reviewing all this stuff here. See, I forgot UL again. I got a bad habit of doing that. Alright, put some list items in here. Same thing, put an ahref tag in here. And we're going to name it, the first one, let's say I want to do, say, Sony Vaio laptops. Well, actually, we're going to put the number symbol in there. Sony Vaio laptops. I hope I spelled that right. And then you want to just go ahead and start, putting some more stuff in here. So we got laptops. I don't know, put a bunch of stuff in here. It's only about laptops, I don't know. Like Dell laptops. Whatever you want to do your items on. I probably should have had a copy and paste folder ready for this. I apologize, folks. I don't know, Emerson, big screen TVs. I don't know. I'll probably end up just putting like item for the rest of this stuff, maybe. Yeah, I might just do that. Just to save on time. And then, of course, whatever you would put in there is what you would put in there. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like. Okay, so we have our horizontal nav, which of course I know it's vertical right now because I didn't do any style attributes to it. And then we're going to have our vertical nav, and it's going to have all the stuff we do reviews on. On the next tutorial, I'm going to fill this up, guys, but just for the sake of this moving along with time here, I'm just going to put item in there. And of course, you'd fill up all the stuff in that you'd want to review it on. So I think that's pretty well good for that. Let's go ahead and end this tag like you normally would with a UL tag there. And we're going to end it with the nav, and we're going to end this section. Next thing I want to do is, well, I think that's about it for that. I'm trying to think of this. Was there anything else I need to do in left section? Let me look real quick. Oh yes, there was related reviews. Yeah, you also want to do some sort of related reviews thing, which you can do dynamically, but I'm going to show you how to do it statically. So this is the power. This is what I liked about, again, this is what I'm going to show you with the using classes. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to put nav class. And if you guys could guess it, I'm going to call it vertical because I want to use the exact same class. That's why you want to use a class here instead of an ID. And I'm going to call this H1, say it's an H1 tag here. I'm going to call it related reviews. And it's going to be a UL. Didn't forget this time. Okay, so continuing on here, like so. And this is where I want to go ahead and put my related reviews inside here. I don't know, whatever I want to put, so like, I don't know, let me look at my notes here. What did I write? Okay, yeah, so for example, Sony Vital Pro 13, which is an actual computer, by the way, Touch Ultrabook. That sort of thing. And I'll just put, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of them in here. So I'll just go and copy this. Let's see, Ultrabook. Let's see, what else could I put in here? Sony Vital Fit laptop. Let's see, Vital Fit 14E laptop. Just anything that's related to, obviously, the page that we're creating, the final product, is on a Sony computer. So obviously I want something related to it, which would be a Sony product. One more. Let's just say Vital Red Edition, because that's an actual laptop as well. Just kind of make it simple here. And so you want to end that nav right there. And that should be the end of our section. Then we're going to move on to another section pretty soon here, which would be in the next part. The next part, we're going to make the center. Let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to go ahead and load it for you guys. I'm going to X out of this. I was checking my email. I had momentarily stopped my computer for something. So anyways, we went and checked this out right here. This is the section. This is for the related reviews part. I know it looks really bad right now. There's no spaces. Yeah, everything's blue and boring. And the next part, we're going to kind of finish up this left section here, which is already done. We're going to do the center section, which you're not going to really see it. We're going to input a picture. Basically, I'll go ahead and show you here. In the next part of the tutorial, we're going to put this picture in here. I'm going to show you how to put this box in here. I'm going to show you how to put all this text in here with paragraph tags. I'm going to show you how to put all this in here, these ad blocks, of maybe the video. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that though. Let's see, and this footer. Well, maybe the footer. I might be able to finish up all the HTML in the next tutorial. If not, it'll be in part 3. And then on the next part after that, we'll actually be styling it to where it looks nice like this. So I'll see you next time, guys, for part 2. And hopefully we'll be able to finish all the HTML up and get ready to get started on the CSS. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.